New York City, one of the finest cities in the world. Everything we love about this city is a result of its geography. First, let's go way back to the formation of New York. Manhattan and the Bronx lie on the eastern edge of the Newark Basin, a block of Earth's crust which sank downward during the Triassic period millions of years ago. Tough metamorphic rocks underline much of Manhattan, providing the solid support for its many skyscrapers. Brooklyn and Queens are part of Long Island, which formed at the southern fringe of the Laurentide ice sheet during the last ice age. Staten Island also appeared during the retreat of the ice sheet after the last ice age. Over time, life would begin to flourish in this area, including a variety of animals, and later humans. The Palisades Sill on the New Jersey shore of the Hudson River exposes ancient, once molten rock that filled the basin. Today, New York City is greatly impacted by its waterways, including the Hudson River, the East River, and the Harlem River, which separates Manhattan and the Bronx. To the south of Manhattan is the New York Harbor, perhaps the most important geographical feature to the city. One of the largest natural harbors in the world, it is part of the largest port on the East Coast. Connecting to the Atlantic Ocean, over 12 million immigrants came through this harbor and were processed at Ellis Island. From automobiles to oil, the New York Harbor has over 120 million tons of cargo passing through it every year. New York's geography is very unique. Let's explore some of the other boroughs now. On the other side of the East River is Brooklyn, the most populous borough of New York City. Once being its own city, Brooklyn merged into New York in 1898. Being near the water, Brooklyn was a big shipbuilder. This includes warships built at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Beyond Brooklyn is Queens, where 48% of the residents are foreign-born. It's also home to JFK and LaGuardia airports. Perhaps Brooklyn is most famous for the iconic Brooklyn Bridge. Opening in 1883, the bridge originally carried horse-drawn and rail traffic, but today is accessible for motor cars and pedestrians. But it's actually not the oldest bridge in the city. That's High Bridge, which connects the Bronx and northern Manhattan. And of course, there's also Staten Island, which is another borough. Being quite far from Manhattan, Staten Island doesn't have any trains that go directly into Manhattan. So, a lot of people use the Staten Island Ferry to get to work in the morning. As a major port city, New York has welcomed many immigrants over time. But as land got scarce on Manhattan, many of the poor immigrants had to start living in tenements, which were tiny and had very harsh living conditions. You would see many, up to 10 to 15 people in one tiny little apartment. A lot of these immigrants came from Eastern and Southern Europe, but also they came from Asia, which is why we have a Chinatown, and I wanted to check this out. When I got to Chinatown, I was amazed at all the unique tastes and smells and sounds that I heard. The food was pretty good too. A lot of interesting music as well. Nearby Chinatown is the historic Little Italy. I was pretty excited to go here because I love Italian food. And cannolis, of course. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, many of the Italian immigrants settled right here on Mulberry Street, which still has its Italian significance. You can't have just one cannoli. New York City's geography has made it the culturally diverse and exciting city that it is today.